Okay, ladies, so this is the first pass. You can see we have the shape perfectly outdrawn. So the stretch is super important. So we're gonna do the three-way stretch. So one, I pull it up. The other one, sorry, my pinky, I'm gonna pull it one way, and then here. Now she's a very young lady, Sylvia, a model, so her skin is very tight anyway, so there's not much of the stretching we have to do. So 1, 2, and 3. So the very first hair stroke that I just did here, you can, this is very, very important because this is the front of the brows. I like it nice and soft, not too roundy, not too square, so it's just perfect for everybody. Nice and slow and not too deep. My second stroke is actually the third or the fourth stroke, so that then I have space here to add 1 or 2 more. So this is a big space, so I'm going to add 2 little hair strokes here. Make sure that you're consistent all the way. The next section here is going to be a little bit different now. As you can see, I'm flattening these here now a little bit more, not as upright. I keep the hand piece, the needle, at 90 degrees all the time. And I'm going more flatter and flatter, and a little bit longer and longer here, because we have really, usually Caucasian people have very long hairs in the middle of the brow sometimes. Don't forget, they're also going to shrink. So when they shrink, and when she comes back in a year or 2, we still need to see the hair stroke. Not too close together, because otherwise when they heal, they're gonna look very powdery. So we want the hair strokes to heal hair strokesy, and when they hair strokesy, that's not even a word, we need them to be strokey, so we need the space in between the strokes. And as you know, in the healing period, they will get a little bit thicker, they will blend in more. Always stretch the skin as much as you can. Now these strokes in this section here are getting a little bit shorter now, as you can see, and a little bit straighter. And they come into the middle of the brow. I can do the full bottom hair strokes on this eyebrow and then the top, but on the other eyebrow I can't because I'm right-handed and I have to place my finger on the brow, on the other brow, so I'm gonna show you then on the other side. So we're back here. So then this is the top stroke. And these are now a little bit flatter, closing it all together. And I'm going to put one more in here on the top. And this is the last one here going up, and now we're going to change the direction. So from here we're actually going to change the direction. And going down. Always plan ahead. Decide what you want to do, how many downward strokes. So for not your eyebrow hairs here, you can see that they were changing the directions, and here now they're growing downward. She doesn't have very much hair here at all, so we're just going to keep that. So this is the highest point here, you can see the drawing, and then I started the first downward stroke, if you can see, and then I have space here to put 2 or 3 more. We'll see, I would say maybe 2 more. Plan these really well, make sure you're nice and slow. And one more. And that was our top here. So now we're gonna do the top tail. The tail should always be very, I'm gonna put her here so that you guys can see it. The tail shouldn't be too thick or too thin. One and one more. Now, so this is our first pass on one brow. Let's see how we did. Wow, perfect. Beautiful. Now, look at this. So it's a very light little pass, just enough for me to see the template without the drawing, okay? It's perfect. You can see a little bit here that I went a tiny bit deeper on the first section here. Not too deep, it's perfect. It's just then I think I went a little bit lighter on the rest, but like you can see it perfectly. Her skin is amazing. There's not one drop of blood, there's no bruising. It's just absolutely fab. So this is the first pass. I'm gonna do the other brow now with the first pass. Put tag on while I'm working on one brow and do the other one, and then we're gonna do the second pass. Okay, so the first pass on the second brow. So you remember, stretch it well. Make sure that I always work from the back of the person, because This is not how I was learned. The very first time when I learned to do brows, I was taught to do it from the side, and the problem with that was that one brow was beautiful, and then the other brow was always very different, because there's no way you can do the same work from just one side. I like to work now from the back. It's strange to get used to it, but once you get used to it, it's much better, because you can do the same movement. As you can see, I can move around her head the way. So when I do the first little strokes here, and then I move on to the other one, it's the same movement. And then if I do the tail here, and I move on, you always pulling the handpiece to your heart. You always pulling it to your heart. Now you can also push it going out from you, away from you, but just be careful with that. It's a little bit more advanced. You can go a little bit too deep, and it's harder to keep your hand straight, but you can absolutely do, and if you're comfortable with it, you will implant more color doing it this way rather than this. But always I would recommend just to pull it to your heart, to you always, so you move around her head. So you can see that I'm doing the same movement on both eyebrows. Okay, so let's do the first pass on this as well. So stretch. Now the very first hair stroke is very important that they are the same on both sides. So make sure that you study this one, decide how the angle is and how that stroke is, okay? So pull it up, stretch. So make sure that, so because I ended up on the first brow, I did between the first and the second stroke, I left a big space. Make sure that you do the same, try to do the same on the other brow, and that's why I left the bigger space, so I could put two more in the middle there. So the next section is then we start flattening these hair strokes here. Make sure that you're consistent all the way and not going in and out of the skin too much. Once you put it in there, stay in the same level. So because, as you can see, my hand is on her brow on the drawing, you can, and I'm already smudging the drawing, I can't really go all the way with the bottom line, so I have to do a little bit on the bottom and then the top lines, and then the bottom lines and the top lines then. They're gonna come up here. Relax, Sylvia. Is it sore, Sylvia?
A little bit.
A little bit? It's been a while since we took off the anesthetic because of the resetting the cameras and everything, so that's why, but usually my clients don't feel a thing. Okay, so I'm going to angle it so that you can see it more in here. On this eyebrow is a little bit difficult, so we're gonna speed it up. Okay, So now comes the second pass.